Hello and welcome to episode 282 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 28th of November. So welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty couple of weeks since the last time I spoke to you, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making since the last podcast. So today I've got some knitting, I've got a little bit of crochet, a blast from the past, which is knitting, and a little bit of information on what's occurring, including meetups and a giveaway, and a little bit of information on my shop update at the end of the video, and of course a little appearance from Jensen. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? So first of all, I've got a new pattern to show you, so I'm so excited to have finished this. I might have to stand up, I don't know, let's see. This is the Strobilus shawl that I've designed, and it's designed for this year's advent calendar, which is the Woodland Wonders. Now these colours are not Woodland Wonders, they're colours out of my stash, which include quite a lot of like colourways of the month that I had left over and music from the movies from last year. And I know these pinks here were actually from a set of yarns that I dyed up especially for one of the mystery knit-alongs by Stephen West, last year's one I think, that Adam's mum Liz knitted in, but I've got those left over. So I've used sort of a rainbow of yarns that Jensen helped me pick out, and I've knitted this shawl. Now it's called the Strobilus shawl. Now I didn't know this before I started researching, but the Strobilus is basically a pine cone, and the Woodland Wonders theme was based on obviously woodland theme, and I wanted to pick out something that made a sort of shape that I could create a shawl with. So the pine cone is made up of scales, and each of these shapes is inspired by a scale of the pine cone. So there's like a spiral of these scales around the pine cone, so that's what I originally designed it for, and it does sort of go in a spiral around your neck, so that's why I've called it the Strobilus. And it's made of 24 of these extended pentagon shapes, and it is so easy to knit. It is ideal for something to knit during Advent, as once you've done one you can just go ahead and knit all the others without really having to think very much. They're knitted flat, backwards and forwards. There's I-cord either side, and once you've knitted one, the stitches that you've got left from the last one, you then carry on knitting the next one, so you don't have to pick up stitches once you've done that first bit of I-cord there. So it's a lovely easy pattern, and look how effective it is. Nice and simple, really lovely and easy to knit. If you're knitting with lovely colours of yarn, it really showcases that yarn. So it does actually go on the floor. You can do it as a big circle, but obviously I can't do that now. I maybe be able to hold it up like a big circle as you can see, like that. That's what it sort of looks like when it's laid out, but obviously when you wear it, it looks slightly different. So I'm going to pop it on so you can see what it looks like. And I was really pleased with how this lays around the neck as well, which is good. So I'll tuck that end up and then keep going round and round, and it covers your neck a few times, which is really good. And then you can choose which sort of colours you want to show on the outside, and you could leave it like this as a shawl, or you could put a shawl pin to keep it in place. So I've just titivated it a little bit off camera, just to get the bits where I want it, but you can see that I've popped on a shawl pin, but you don't have to wear it with a shawl pin. I just wanted to sort of wear it a bit more like a cowl, if you know what I mean, with it just laid up there, or you could have it hanging if you wanted to. So if you wanted to wear it just hanging, you could have a piece down like this. So I did mine in rainbow colours, but if you did them, you could actually do this in 300-gram skeins, so you just had the same 3 colours repeated all the way along. Or you could use your scraps like I did, or you could use your advent. Now I used 10 grams in fingering weight yarn, 4-ply weight yarn, for this version, but there are instructions for a DK version as well, which needs 20 grams. So if you had a 12-day advent calendar, fingering weight yarn, 4-ply weight yarn, where you had 20 grams for each of those days, that would be enough to do the whole shawl, because you only need 10 grams for each section. I wrote it like that because some of the advent calendars that I sell are only 10 grams, so I wanted you to be able to complete the shawl even if you only had 10 grams for your 24 days. So there we go. It's very, very cozy and snug. It's quite good with having a rainbow one because you can pick out the colours that you've got on underneath and have those sort of prominent at the front, if you have got all the different colours on, and it's nice and bright. And of course I've put the turquoise ones at the top this time because I absolutely love turquoise. So there we go, that is the new shawl pattern that I've got. That actually, if you have purchased an advent, you should have received it. If you haven't received it yet, I did have one email fail to send properly, so if you're that person, drop me an email and I'll send it to you again. But this is coming out for everybody tomorrow, Friday the 29th of November, so you can purchase it separately as well. But there we go, that is this year's advent pattern. I'm so chuffed with this. It's very, very wearable as well as fun to knit, which I'm so pleased about, and I might even knit another one with the advent that I've purchased. We shall see. It's just so nice to have something and easy to knit. So if you've done short rows before, if you've done I-cord before, there's not much else besides knit because it's garter stitch. So as long as you've done some short rows, some shaping, decreases and increases and I-cord, it's really, really easy. And I'm sure with the video tutorials I've got to accompany this pattern, it'll help you along if you haven't done those things before. I would say that each of the sections takes about 2 hours to complete, so actually if you've got 2 hours in an evening, you'll be able to complete that during Advent period, which is absolutely brilliant. That's what you want, isn't it? So if you purchase the pattern over this weekend, I will give you a 10% discount, and then it'll go up to the normal price after that. So I will, it'll automatically apply on both my website and on Ravelry as well. So if you don't want to see the other patterns I'm going live tomorrow that are in the Adventy kits, look away now. The patterns for the frost cowl, which I've got a little sample of here, which are for the 12-day Advent. The frost cowl will go up for sale as well as the sock pattern that I wrote for the Woodland Wonders kit as well. So that pattern will go live Friday as well. So I have spent quite a lot of time working on the patterns lately, so that's taken up quite a lot of my knitting time, but I have finished one of the socks that me and Mum were working on. These are some commercial sock yarn in Grundle hot socks, and they're quite a sort of rustic yarn, but ideal for knitting Dad's socks with. And I've just used my free pattern, which is the simple top-down sock pattern, which is on my Ravelry page and on my website as well. But it's just a simple grey tone sock, which will be great for Dad. So I've knitted the rest of this one, and I did cast on the second one for Mum. She did knit a bit, but then I finished the cuff off for her, which I'm going to post to her now so she can knit the straight bit. She does do rib, but I took it out to a knit evening with me, and I was just, that's what I was working on, so I just finished up to the point where she needs to start just doing plain knit. So I'm going to send those over to Mum soon, so then I can pick them up and hopefully finish them at Christmas, because we're going to go visit them at Christmas. Now, I told a bit of a fib on the last podcast. I said I showed you all of my project bags and showed you what was in them. Well, might have found 3 more. So I thought I'd quickly show you those. So I have this shawl, which is this one here, which is partially done. Now Adam's mum Liz was knitting this as a sample for me, but she got stuck on one of the lines, and I picked it up and tried to fix it, and I only spent a couple of hours trying to fix it, and then I just give up, and we've been busy doing other things, so I completely forgotten about this. This is the Ishneigh, I think it's pronounced, shawl, and it's by Lucy Hague, and it's got some gorgeous like cable work, intricate like Celtic shapes on the bottom of the shawl. So it's like a triangular shawl with the Celtic shapes around it, and I really love it. But it was just, the stitch count was a little bit off on just as she was starting the sort of cable work, the wiggly line bits, and we were just trying to get it right before she got any further, and I picked it up and I just couldn't work out quite what had happened. So I'll have to pick this up and sort it out, because it will be a lovely shawl, and I do love these colours. So these were from the yarn clubs, the Music from the Movies yarn clubs, which was the Action Adventure edition, and this was 2023. and these colours were Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk, because it's a song from the Star Wars movie, and this one was called You Could Be Mine, and this was from Terminator 2. So those two were designed to go together, and I was just knitting up a sample. I do love these colours, so I think I will bring these back. Once I've got this sample knitted, I will dye a batch up more and put them in the shop, I think, because they look lovely together, and especially the Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk yarn. I love the sort of deep blues and purples there together, so hopefully I'll get that back in the shop at some point, but really need to not forget about knitting projects. But hopefully I can sort that out and give it back to Liz so she can finish that one for me, because it is a really lovely pattern. The last knitting thing is my this is a huge bag. So this bag was made for me by my friend Jo, who's So Can Jo. Don't know if she's bag making at the moment. I don't think so, but she made a lovely bag for me with sparkly fabric on the bottom. And this is full of these shapes for my Popstars blanket. So I have shown these before. So these are the panels that make up the blanket, and this is one, sorry it's a bit creased, but this is one of them that I've put together. This was the colours inspired by Britney Spears. So this one is all the minis knitted up from the Yarn Club. This is the January month, and I did, so the Popstars blanket, I then dyeing up the Popstars mini sets this year every month, and I'm going to intend to make them up into a big blanket. So there's going to be 12 of these stars, and Liz is helping me knit the diamonds, and then I'm putting them together and making it one big thing. But I haven't had a chance to put these together recently, so there are rather a large bag full. I've got some of the completed hexagons, but there's a bag full of the diamonds to go together. So I have to do that. I've got some that are split into bags as well. I've got some here. This is the Michael Jackson inspired colourways, which was earlier this year. So I have to finish that. I'm really hoping that Vlogmas, one day I can get them all laid out and start assembling, and you'll be able to see it coming together. The Popstars blanket was last year's advent pattern. Hopefully I'll make an actual blanket out of this one. The original one was actually supposed to be a shawl, but then I adapted it to a blanket as well. I'll pop a picture up here of what the shawl pattern looks like. So that is on my needles, but I also have some crochet as well. So going into the crochet section, this is what I've got that I didn't show on my confessions of sort of what projects I've got on the go, and I'd forgotten about this completely. And it is the Battenberg blanket. So this one is in a fingering weight yarn, and it's in these tiny little squares, and the pattern is by Sandra Paul, and she's from the Cherry Heart podcast, and this blanket is just so cute. I really need to pick it up again. I've got too many things that I've sort of started and got distracted with, but I love it. You sort of join it as you go, and it makes these really neat edges on the inside, and I'm using scraps of leftover yarn. It only takes like 2 or 3 grams for each square, which is brilliant, and it's been growing very slowly, but what I was thinking actually when I was looking at this earlier this week is that I'm not going to just leave it as just the pattern so it finishes like that. I thought I'd do a similar edge to what I did for my corner to corner crochet blanket. So this is my massive corner to corner crochet blanket, folded up quite a lot of times. I'm going to show you my favourite corner, because there's a corner where it's got all the loveliest colours in. Here we go. And I've used up all my scraps of leftover yarn that I'd got left over, and I've held it double with an undyed yarn to sort of blend the colours in nicely. And this first corner that I did, I feel like it blended the colours so nicely because there was smaller scraps, and I hope to do that again, I think with a different pattern, I suppose, just so to make it a bit different. But it was a lot of fun to make. So on this one I did this scalloped edge, and I thought actually that would make a really lovely edge on the Battenberg blanket as well. So I think I'm going to do that, but I may well do some plain undyed yarn, just crochet around the edge for a couple of rounds, and then do this sort of scalloped edge just to finish it off nicely, because I was really pleased about that. I got this sort of idea to do this scalloped edge on a YouTube channel, but they didn't do it quite the same as this. So when I come to do the Battenberg blanket, I will do a little sort of mini tutorial of how I did the scalloped edges, because I think it really just finishes it off really lovely, having a bit of a wibbly edge on it. This blanket is huge, look. I'll show you how big it is. You can see that further along when I was knitting it, I was knitting like bigger amounts. I had sort of 40 grams of some colours that I had sort of left over, so there are larger stripes, but it is quite a nice heavy blanket. So it was obviously fingering weight held double, so it's more like a DK, but so much fun and very, very cosy to have when you're watching the TV. So that is the corner to corner crochet blanket. This pattern I copied from a Bella Coco tutorial video, which I will leave in the description bar down below if you're interested in the main body of the pattern. Lots of fun to knit. I definitely recommend those. I do have a video tutorial on how I did the magic knot ball when I was tying together all my ends and then holding that double with an undyed yarn. I feel like I'm not always very confident with a magic knot, but because there's 2 strands there, I felt a little bit better about doing that. I don't like doing magic knots in sort of knitting because I feel like you can see the lumps where the knots occur, but with crochet I think it blends in a lot better. So I will leave a link to that tutorial as well. So that is my crochet section, and now I'm on to my blast from the past. Now you might have noticed that I've got my cardigan. It's got loads of lovely colour work on it. I absolutely love this cardigan. It is the Cherry Bloom cardigan by Lene Tosti. It has got another name to it, which is in a language I cannot pronounce, so I'm not going to even go for it. So there is an English alternative, so that's what I'm going to say. The Cherry Bloom cardigan. Now I knitted this in some John Arbor knit by numbers in a grey, and then I used the same yarn in 3 different colours. So I used a light pink, a dark pink and a brown for the branches in between. So I did the colour work in the grey and the light pink, and then I added the dark pink and the brown afterwards, just to make it so it wasn't so thick, but that actually did take quite a long time to add that by duplicate stitch afterwards, because I was just a bit worried about it being a bit messy and bulky, because obviously you'd have some areas with 4 colours in the same row, and I just thought with all those ends being carried on the back, I just didn't want it, so I just duplicate stitched those colours on afterwards. Did take ages, but well worth it in the end. So that goes all the way around the back. If I turn around you'll be able to see around the back of my top, and it's all grey around the rest of it. I did change the cuffs and the button band because there was like colour work in it, and I just thought it was a bit much at the time, but actually looking back at the pattern now I thought, oh, actually I quite like that. I'd have had a go at it. Obviously I changed my opinion and I think I would have had a go at that if I went to knit it again. The John Arbor knit by numbers does peel a little bit, you can see pilling under my arm. Obviously all woolly jumpers pill to a point, but I feel like this pills a little bit more than some of the other yarns that I've used. I think the ply of it is just a little bit looser, so it does tend to pill a little bit more. It's lovely and soft though, so can't really complain. So when I was knitting the pattern I also added some short rows around the bust to allow for a little bit more bust area, and I did enjoy how this sort of fits when I do it up, but what I would say is that since I've been doing different patterns and knitting lots of other cardigans, is that if I do one that's sort of very fitted, and it's quite slim fitting around the body and it comes right up here, I will do some extra short rows for the bust. But if it is one that I wear open a lot, I wouldn't bother doing the short rows around the bust, because if you wear it open, the front sort of sags longer because you've obviously got all this extra fabric to go around your bust area when it's closed. And if you're going to wear it open a lot, I wouldn't do that again, but I do wear this closed quite often anyway, and it does sort of lie quite closed even if I don't button it up myself. So depending on what the fit is and whether you're going to have it open, I'd make me decide whether to do the short rows around the bust area. But it does fit really nicely. I've modified the length of the sleeves and the body to suit me exactly. I just kept trying it on as I was knitting it. But a lovely fun knit. So that is my blast from the past. We are now onto the what's occurring section. So I wanted to just mention that we've got Barbara's Day out on Sunday the 8th of December at 1 till 4 at Dunstan Hall Terrace Bar. That's the normal place we go to. You can just turn up. We don't need to know how many people are coming. But I have got another meetup booked in Swaffham at the Best Western George Hotel in Swaffham on the 12th of January, and they would just like us to know roughly what the numbers are. So if you are coming, just drop me a message just to let me know that you are coming to that one. Obviously you don't need to do it till like the week before or whatever, but I'd just like to know, have an idea of numbers, because they have put us up in a separate room without charging us, which is absolutely lovely. So we've got those 2 meetups booked. I'm hoping to have one every month from now on. So we have a giveaway winner. I had a box that I bought from Venetia's in Fakenham, and I bought this for a prize for you guys. So this is the birch mitten kit, and it's got the yarn and the pattern in there. It's made of a Norfolk horn yarn, and it's got these 2 lovely shades of the Norfolk horn. So in the box you've got the pattern for the birch mitts, and then 2 lovely cakes of yarn ready to knit your lovely mittens, and some little packaging you can see. But there we go. Isn't that a lovely little box? So this is going to go to, I drew it previously on using random comment picker, and the winner is Deborah Eaton 5184. So congratulations, Deborah. If you want to send me a message on my email, ellie@crafthhousemagic.co.uk, with just your full name and postal address so I can get that sent out to you. Deborah said that her favourite colourwork pattern was the Alaska hat by Camille Descoteaux. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but this pattern is lovely. I think I've seen it before actually, but I hadn't added it to my list, but I've added to it now. It's got some beautiful colourwork trees on the hat, and I'll pop a picture up here so that you can see what it looks like. So thank you to everybody else who made some suggestions. That was really lovely to see everyone joining in the giveaway. I'm going to have another giveaway probably during Vlogmas, so watch out for the videos that I'm starting tomorrow. And I'm obviously, that's not actually the 1st of December. I'm starting a little bit early, so we've got Friday and Saturday bonus Vlogmas episodes, and then proper Vlogmas starts on Sunday. So this year I'm going to try and keep the sort of repetitiveness down to a minimum, and keep it so that it's down to sort of 5 to 10 minutes, so it's just a little glimpse of what we've been up to during the Christmas period. It'll all be either craft or Christmassy related. I'm afraid my son Jensen will be appearing in quite a lot of it, but it'll be in the Christmas sort of sense when we go out to Christmassy things. Hopefully you can tune in and watch us throughout Vlogmas. And now onto the shop update section. So we have this month's yarn clubs, well not this month, December's yarn clubs. It's not quite December yet, but they are now listed in the shop. We have the colour of the month, which is inspired by the song Wild Thing, and it's like a different shades of brown base, but with some pinks and greens in there, which sounds a bit boring having brown, but I think it's a very usable colourway. It's like a wintry colourway with little bits of pink and green in there. Anyway, so that's my knitted swatch, and I have a crochet swatch as well. And the full skein looks like this. Sometimes it looks quite different actually. I think quite often my colourways look quite a lot better when they're knitted up than they do in the skein, which is weird. It's weird how they look quite different sometimes. That's available in single skeins, sock sets and shawl sets. If you order a shawl set, I will put the contrast colour for one skein and the main colour for the other skein. But if you wanted 2 skeins of the one colour, I can do that for you, or you can just pop in your basket 2 separate single skeins of the colour of the month on whatever base you want. The music from the movie's December inspiration is Home Alone. I absolutely love that Christmas film. It is my favourite Christmas film, like from my childhood. I think it's brilliant. Looking back on it, it is quite violent actually, but it's still a lot of fun, and it always makes me feel in the Christmas mood. The Popstars mini sets, the last set for 2024 is going to be inspired by George Michael, and I'll pop a picture up here of the inspiration colours that I've taken from this sort of music videos for those. So with the music from the movies and the Popstars sets, you will get a little information card to go with your yarn that you've ordered. With the Popstars sets, they're available in 10 and 20 gram mini sets in a number of bases. I'm in the process of now sorting out the 2025 yarn clubs, so if you have any preferences as to what you'd like to see, like more minis or shawl sets and things, just let me know in the comments down below. So I do have a few more Advent leftover sets that I've got in the shop. There aren't many there, so if you do want to get your hands on one, I'd get one sooner rather than later. I can't guarantee that it will get to you before Christmas, unless you're in the UK and you order them like today, because I always send my normal parcels track 24 regularly, so they should get to you the next day. Even if you actually, if I post them on a Saturday, they're getting there on a Sunday, which is very weird. It never used to happen, did it? So that is my shop update, and now it's over to you, Jensen. So Jensen's hanging out by the Christmas tree over here, aren't you, Jensen? What have you got on your feet? Socks. They're beautiful, aren't they? They're your favourite socks ever.
Yeah.
They're rainbow socks, and Sheila's made them for you as well, hasn't she?
Yeah.
She spoilt you with all these socks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say thank you.
Thank you.
You doing a twirl? They're lovely. Thank you ever so much, Sheila. And we've got our Christmas tree up, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to doing Vlogmas, aren't we, Jensen?
Now you're putting up round.
You helped Daddy decorate the Christmas tree, and we've got that video up to put up tomorrow, haven't we?
Update.
Yeah, oh, you did the tinsel today, didn't you? Yes. So thank you very much, Jensen. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in Vlogmas tomorrow. Bye.